Hello, everybody. You were already live, CJ. What do you say? What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Nothing But the Game. This is our official 18th episode of Nothing But the Game, guys.
Oh, what?
What?
Damn.
Nice.
We are
We are now able to vote. Just in time.
We are there. We are there. You can see we are 8 days until kickoff. I mean, the day is almost over, so essentially it's 7 days. We have a week until kickoff.
Woo!
I'm so excited. I can't wait. I need this football season to start immediately. Draft season is definitely at its peak right now, so I imagine that everybody and their brother is going to be having some sort of fantasy football draft this weekend. So we're hoping we can help you out with this show this week. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Do it.
So today we are going to be discussing our top running backs and wide receivers for this year's upcoming fantasy football season.
Yeah.
I love it. Like, I love ranking guys, and I just love having healthy debates with you guys, right? My friends, my co-hosts, about where I think somebody belongs and where they don't. And I think we all came to a pretty good consensus here on the running backs. The wide receivers might be a little bit more fun and enticing, but we will get there. So what's up? How are you guys today? Evan, where are you coming from today?
Man, I am joining from the beautiful forests just at the foothills of Mount Hood in Oregon.
Oh, nice.
So it's going from the highs of the upper 60s, lower 70s to we're hitting the hundreds up in this area now. So it's always the fun part of traveling. You gotta keep all four seasons of clothes ready at beck and call.
I love it, man.
So sporting the shorts today, nice, as if I'm going to go mow the yard t-shirt,
Right.
The Carhartt, the suburban man working outfit. But yeah, what's what you got going on over your way, Mr. CJ?
Not much. Just ready for college football. So, there's a lot of games tomorrow nights.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I've got all my Devi guys. I'm eyeing the games. Oh man.
You doing a parlay tomorrow, Tim?
I will not discuss my gambling habits on air.
It will get you. It'll eventually be out there.
I did.
It'll slowly but surely start creeping out.
It will. It will. I was really upset. I missed on a 6-pick parlay last week for week 0 over it was North Texas defeating UTEP. I was a little upset. It was the last game on my parlay. Everything else had hit. I was like, oh yeah, man, this is looking good. I was great, and I went to bed. It was 14-13. I woke up and it was 31-13. So UTEP didn't score at all in the second half. I was a little upset. So, but
that is one way to get vested into what are they? The Sun Belt Conference?
Yeah.
Is that area? Yeah, that's one way to get vested in there. I believe one of our league mates, howdoiwin.com, he's actually a former student at North Texas. So he probably says you deserve it for voting against them.
He probably does. Howdoiwin.com. I don't even. There's a movie. Isn't it Unnecessary Roughness? Unnecessary Roughness is about North Texas University, is it not?
Ooh.
That's when like the 40-year-old college he comes back, and then they bring on the girl field goal kicker. I'm pretty sure it's got,
it sounds like North Texas, but
it's
I don't
got
know.
It's got Sinbad in it, right? Sinbad in it. Like, oh yes, dude.
No idea what you're talking about right now.
Oh, really? Come on, man. I'm not like. I feel like I don't know. I'm a movie junkie though.
It was Texas State.
It was Texas State. Okay, it wasn't North Texas.
Ah, I lived in Grand Ole San Marcos for a few years. I should have known that.
Well, Unnecessary Roughness. It's a
Unnecessary.
classic football movie. All right.
Noted. I'll have to watch it now.
That's-
So here we are. We fantasy football season, and the trend so far in the drafts that I've been in has been first round's been kind of weird, kind of crazy. It's like you know, running back up to like pick 4, and then it will jump to like wide receiver, and then it's like back and forth with running back, wide receiver. I've had a few drafts where I've taken running back super early, and a few other drafts where I'm picking late in the first round and I'm going wide receiver on on the snake on the turnaround. But we are going to jump into our into our running back rankings. Running back rankings. So we kind of have them broken up into tiers, and we'll just kind of take some turns here and break down, how we feel about these tiers and why they're where they are. So,
yeah.
Tier
And
1.
if you follow us
yes,
on Twitter, NBTG_podcast, we had posted these about last week, but these didn't have the tiers on them. Those were just straight up rankings. This, as we're going through it, we'll actually kind of have like more of that tier breakdown. Which is the way I personally like to grade things out, is lumping people in those tier categories.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's more reasonable. I think it gives you also as a ranker, is that a word? A ranker? As a rankee.
As an unrecognized ranker.
Yes.
Because I don't think anybody actually
I think it gives you a little more leeway on where you can put these guys,
It actually helps with drafting too. If you're looking at things and you're hitting like the 4th or 5th round and you're like, man, I'm debating in between positions, and if you see you have 8 or 5 spots left of a certain position in like a certain tier, but then you've only got like 1 left of like a higher tier of another position, it really helps figure out your flow and what's going to make its way back to you to complete a well-rounded team.
At the end of the show, I had posted on our Twitter, by the way, my recent draft, and I was a little upset. Because I was graded super low and told I was going to go 2-13 and lose the entire league, and I can't wait to get your guys' feedback on this.
Oh, yeah, I've not even looked.
Yes.
I will definitely give it, though.
So this is going to be redraft tiers that we'll do.
Yeah.
So we're going to start off with tier 1. Tier 1, we have Jonathan Taylor, of course, Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler, Derrick Henry, and Alvin Kamara. I think it's pretty straightforward. I do, however, like Alvin Kamara being up here, and I feel like he is going later and later in drafts.
Yeah.
And I'm blown away by it, honestly.
It's people, the news hesitation as to if he's going to be there, but I mean, the way everything's panned out for at least the last 2 weeks, the news has been out that he's probably not going to receive any kind of suspension within the season. It might linger to next year. So like on dynasty rankings, he probably going to take a little bit of a hit, but redraft.
Even so, even if it's like a 4 to 6 game suspension, like,
yeah,
I'm still taking.
I mean, I think in our dynasty we have him in the top 10 still.
Yeah.
It's not a big drop.
He is actually in our dynasty rankings. He is number 10. So
bingo. Yep.
Let us dive into tier 2. So tier 2, we have Dalvin Cook, DeAndre Swift, Najee Harris, Joe Mixon, Javonte Williams, and Nick Chubb.
Cool.
And that's taking you from number 6 down to 11.
Yes.
Right.
So, we all agreed on these rankings. However,
there are always asterisks or dissenting opinions.
So like the Joe Mixon, like I don't think Joe Mixon should be going as high as he is going. I really don't. Don't get me wrong. Joe Mixon's production last year, sensational, but it definitely died off towards the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like going into this season where Cincinnati left off, putting the ball downfield, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, these guys are top 10, or top 15 receivers. Jamar Chase, being, if not the best, he's number 2. And Joe Burrow, like I have this feeling that they're going to be putting the ball downfield even more and more. I mean, running back wise, they don't have much. So maybe Joe Mixon is a safe play here. I don't know where I was going with this. I apologize.
Well, they did upgrade the O-line, so I mean that helps out. But I was looking from last year. He only had 3 100-yard games for the whole season. So
yeah,
and the 3 he did, he had over 25 carries.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things, and we should probably preface this too as well. This is PPR based, so the perception of him getting receptions as well is kind of mixed into that.
Yeah,
I think personally, you might see him have a little bit more of an uptick in that because of the high focus that will be on Chase and Higgins, and they may want to try to leverage that again. And he's a great ball in hand running back.
Oh, absolutely.
So you get that ball in his hands. Who knows? And I agree with you though with it being overhyped. I've seen some rankings where he's up near the 6-5 range, like he's in that tier 1.
Yeah,
and and personally, I have this inner battle of like if it pops up on a board, yeah, we have Joe Mixon at 9, but if like Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb were on that, I have this like continuous inner battle of like, I kind of want to split it 50-50. Like, do I go with him this one time and Nick Chubb the next time? Because they're not very far separated, but I see a lot of rankings that have Chubb in a tier below. And I think Chubb is going to be seeing a bit more uptick QB play, not as
right.
I don't know. Kareem Hunt, they may be deviating way more from him. Who knows?
This is like I might get into this spiel right now because you're walking down that road. This is where fantasy football and the game of football are played totally different. To me, I think Nick Chubb's value skyrockets this season, where he should even be ahead of Najee Harris simply because he's the only productive person on that offense.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I agree.
Right? I mean, the only way the Browns are winning games this year, and I'm sorry, any Browns fans listening out there, I apologize. This isn't
you don't have to apologize.
Yeah, okay.
You're
right.
Your own opinions.
The situation is just, I mean, the Amari Cooper situation doesn't sit well with me because of the quarterback situation. The David Njoku situation, we're not going to get into our tight end rankings today, but like he's jumping up on boards because they think he's valuable, but he's been there for 4 years now and he was still never valuable. And if you're asking me, Baker Mayfield is more valuable at quarterback than Jacoby Brissett. So in terms of target shares and all that, I mean, the only value, like the only productive person that you have going on your offense is Nick Chubb. So you're going to be playing the classic, let my defense win the games and I'm going to control the clock. And if you're trying to control the clock, who better than Nick Chubb?
And the rock off, right?
And he thrives. He's not one of those 10, 12 carries a game. I'm going to get you the quick dart points. He is the workhorse. He's a Derrick Henry type. Not comparing him, but he if you get him the ball 20 plus times, that's when he's in his element.
Absolutely, 100%.
And that's what they're going to have to do.
They have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I
and
value
their red zone efficiency too. Whenever they didn't hand the ball off in the red zone, they would try to bootleg Mayfield out or try to get cute with him to whatever X receiver.
Right.
It was so hit and miss, and there's so many times as I don't care. I'm not a Browns fan, but I'd be like watching. I'm like, just give it to Chubb. You need 3 yards. Chubb will get you 3 yards.
Yep.
If not the first time, the second time you give it to him. But they're going to have to do that now, with Brissett back there for the first 11 games.
I mean, we have Chubb at 11, and the reality of it is, I mean, that's where he's going. He's going in the second round, in drafts, and really, I mean, in terms of production and opportunity, right? Because this is what this is about, right? Fantasy football is most opportunity generates points here. I think Nick Chubb has the highest opportunity out of the backs to be productive, so I would even put him over somebody like Dalvin Cook here. I mean, we have Dalvin Cook ranked at 6, and just I know we're going off of, you guys can't see what it is our rankings are. We're going to be sure to have a shareable document here with viewers. We'll link it to the page once we're finished with the rankings, and you guys will be able to, hopefully we'll have that out right before the season kicks off, maybe even by this weekend, if possible.
It's more along the lines of just making it pretty at this point.
Yeah. So no, that was a great conversation about Nick Chubb, honestly, because I think we're all kind of hitting the nail on the head there. I think that is exactly what Cleveland needs to do, and I think that's what makes Nick Chubb's value in fantasy football a lot higher this year than maybe he's being drafted at.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and break down. Somebody else break down tier 3. I think this is the most interesting tier.
Well, hold on. I did a draft the other night, and I seen Saquon go number 8 as I think he was the 5th running back to go off. So I mean, I like him in this tier right here. I mean,
in tier 2, like putting him up into tier 2.
I like him in 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Like, you don't know what you're going to get with the Giants. Like, I know they upgraded the line, but you still have Daniel Jones. And with Saquon's health conditions, we hope he's back healthy. So I agree. I like it, but it was just crazy how I saw him go in the top 10 of a draft that I did.
Oh yeah!
Wow. So, and then you got anything you want to say about Saquon? Or
I was just going to jump in with I love his ability. He is a top 5 talent.
Right.
And this is where you get into the whole talent versus gameplay versus team situation.
Right.
All those different things that go into fantasy football. And I know we have him tier 3. We have him number 13 on here, and I'll go through the tier 3 list here in a second. But with Saquon, with him at 13, it is primarily on my end too. It is the injury history does come into it. You could argue the whole thing with Christian McCaffrey too, but it's also the team that's around him. I don't know. Like, I genuinely don't know if I can see them utilizing him the best way possible. Whereas with Christian McCaffrey, he's still in that first tier, who has had the injury history. You get the ball in his hands, he is going to do something with it. They are not the same level of player.
No, all right, yeah.
McCaffrey is another tier. He is above. I mentioned them together because I hear, other podcasts, I see other articles that talk about them with their injury history and why they're seen different. McCaffrey is a generational talent. Saquon could have gotten to that point. He could have been that, but he hasn't capitalized on it to the extent as what McCaffrey was able to in the time that he was healthy. And so I think with that being said, and Saquon Barkley isn't as versatile as a receiving back. He can do it,
Yeah.
but he's not the guy that could. He didn't pull off 100+ receptions in a single year. That's been done by McCaffrey. So that's why those two they get pegged together due to the injury history. But on our rankings, that's why there is such a big disparity.
So
that's what I think, at least.
Yeah. No, so I'm with you 100% here, and here's why. You could almost make the same argument that we just made for Nick Chubb for Saquon Barkley, but you can't at all. And here's why. You have injury history.
Yep.
Your O-line is not as proven as Cleveland's O-line is, right? In terms of rushing attack, right? In terms of rush, like Cleveland has had an outstanding offensive line in terms of rushing for the last 2 seasons. And this is where it becomes like Nick Chubb, you can feed him the ball because you know he's going to get production. Saquon Barkley, you cannot. And now, CJ, to your point, or Evan, I can't remember who made the point, but it was about weapons around him, right? We know that Nick Chubb is the only weapon in Cleveland. New York has no weapons. They have no weapons besides Saquon Barkley, but they don't have the offensive line to support him either, right? And that's where his value decreases versus Nick Chubb. These teams that have these, only, you have Kadarius Toney, but Kadarius Toney is not, I don't think he's proven anything yet.
He's making a name for himself in the offseason. He hasn't actually shown anything.
Right. No, absolutely. So I think the injury history and the fact that he's with the New York Giants, who still have yet to do anything to support their offense at all, is where Saquon falls down to this tier 3 for me versus Nick Chubb, who is the only offensive production for the Browns, but they have an offensive line to support him to allow him to get these, 4 or 5 yards per carry type thing. So the team can handle that type of workload. The Giants cannot. So it's great. I hope that made sense. And I didn't contradict myself anywhere, did I?
You good. You ended up on solid ground there.
Thank you.
And I'm going to go ahead and round out, go ahead and state the tier 3. So starting at with number 12 overall, we got Aaron Jones, Saquon Barkley, J.K. Dobbins, Leonard Fournette, Ezekiel Elliott, James Conner, David Montgomery, Josh Jacobs, Breece Hall, and at 21, the last part of the tier is Antonio Gibson, which I think it becomes even more interesting in the last week. This was before all the stuff had happened with Brian Robinson. All prayers and wishes out for him out
absolutely,
there. Absolutely. But this was before that, and to me, this would be kind of something I would reconsider because I think everybody had a big drop on Antonio Gibson. Brian Robinson, he was having awesome preseason, but the drop that he was taking, as putting the eye of a stock type of mindset, it was unnecessary as an overreaction. It was overcorrecting, I feel like. And the Antonio Gibson stock is going to start rising back again. And I think this is a good spot for him now, but I think he could exceed it even further and that make it in the top 20 range.
Like it.
But where he is in this tier 3, I like it for now.
It's his fumbling problems. But other than that, he has the talent. He can do it.
He does.
But I want to talk about Aaron Jones real quick. I'm hearing reports that he might play the slot, and why they have AJ Dillon in the backfield. Look, Aaron Jones could pop off and be the running back, and also because his pass catching skills are elite. So watch out. He could be up there in a sneaky top 10 play, Aaron Jones.
And on the contrary, I think that opens up an opportunity for AJ Dillon, though. I maybe some of those touches go to Dillon, and I don't think Dillon's really been given an opportunity yet to really show, like what he can do and what he was known for coming out of Boston College. So like, I think this really opens up the door for Dillon, and I personally would even throw AJ. So we have AJ Dillon in tier 4, but I almost kind of want to move Dillon up to tier 3 and then just let Jones and Dillon sit there, because I think that's really what's going to happen there. And
begin the tier with Jones and end the tier with Dillon. Kind of have a I could definitely see that. Yeah, because I mean, what you said, CJ, Aaron Jones is going to. He will absolutely capitalize on the lack of wide receivers that they have there. They're going to need to utilize him, and they have great potential on the wide receiver side, but to actually utilize what they have now during the time of Aaron Rodgers, they're going to have to, or utilize what they have now within the time of Aaron Rodgers. They're going to have to utilize Jones as a pass catching threat. So you're going to possibly be seeing them both in the backfield, with Jones splitting out, Dillon taking those passes, runs, and yeah, you can see that jump up. I haven't been always the biggest AJ Dillon fan, but if he's given that role as just the between the tackles, he can handle that quite easily, and he's a good runner.
I think he's the kind of running back that needs that, though. He needs to be given the ball about 20 times a game to, and he's not saying that he's going to be given the ball 20, but give him more than 10 touches a game.
Yeah, it's going to go up there. I think you're going to see him getting the 12, 15 touches a game, and Aaron Jones possibly getting 8 rushes, but then maybe
more catches.
6 to 8 catches.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who knows? So it could be super, super interesting with that whole situation in Green Bay.
Moving into tier 4. By the way, real quick, I'm sorry, I still want to talk on tier 3. Darn it. Zeke. We have Zeke at 16. And I can't believe the words are going to come out of my mouth here. I think Zeke is higher. I think Zeke can be a top 10 quarterback or top 10 running back. I really do.
Like it.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking of the situation that they're in right now, right? Because they have CeeDee Lamb, Dalton Schultz, and then like wide receiver 2 is kind of, you have Gallup. He's, coming off the injury. He might not even be ready to go week 1. Tolbert's
is the number 2 right now.
Yeah, right. Like I just think it's a situation where if you can get Zeke going early in the season, man, like it could really benefit. I think it could benefit the Cowboys, and it could benefit fantasy football or owners. Like I think Zeke can be a top 10.
I think where Zeke becomes super sneaky, and it doesn't change anything if your leagues redraft the most popular leagues out there, but is in best ball leagues, because he's still falling in a lot of those, and he's going to have his weeks where Pollard just goes off. He's the hot hand. They're going to run him, or Gallup, CeeDee Lamb are the head honchos, and there's just Zeke. What we saw last year, he doesn't have the consistency. But then he's also going to have those pop-off 2 touchdown, 110-yard games,
right?
Where he gets the ball due to situation 15, 25 times. Who knows?
4 or 5 receptions for like 40 yards. Yep.
And in best ball leagues, or at least on the few that I've seen, he's still going in this realm where he's the 18th running back, 16th running back going, and he could definitely be a steal in those situations.
Moving on to tier 4, so we're gonna finish it off here with tier 4, and then move.
That'll round out the top 30.
Tier 4, we got Chase Edmonds, Travis Etienne, Cam Akers, Cordell Patterson, AJ Dillon, Elijah Mitchell, Kareem Hunt, Miles Sanders. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Dameon Pierce.
Rookie.
I think I love the Dameon Pierce play, and then just to solidify it even more. Like Marlon Mack was now, he was signed to the practice squad. So the only competition that Dameon Pierce has for touches really is Rex Burkhead.
Is David Johnson still even on the roster there? I'm curious. I remember that was the last place I heard David Johnson.
I think David Johnson retired.
Did he? Okay, I couldn't remember. I didn't remember hearing the retire announcement. I just remember he was the last team was the Texans. I was like, wait, is he still actually on that team?
It's unfortunate that David Johnson ended his career there at Houston.
Yeah. That was just a random thought. By no means applicable.
He's retired. Well, he's not
okay.
So I think realistically, we could probably move Dameon Pierce up. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those evaluations. Look at it. I know actually I had gone in there and taken the liberty of moving him to this tier. He was in the tier below, but the same ranking.
Yeah.
I took the liberty of putting him into this tier because of the news. Just haven't reevaluated the placement.
It's
we're at 31. I mean, you're looking at a great flex option there. It's still where I would probably consider him, but maybe I don't know. Looking at the guys ahead of him.
If we have a chance to get into my roster, I actually have him as my starter. So
wait, do you have him in our best ball league?
I have him in our best ball league as well. Yes.
Oh man, that has become probably your best pick.
Thank you.
So I remember when we broke down your draft, we're like, he has no running backs and no quarterbacks. And like I remember looking, they had some running backs, but potential. But I mean, obviously with this move, I didn't think you were thinking he'd be a top 28 potential running back.
Not at all.
You're probably thinking I was like, hey, he's a good flex. I mean, he legit has a chance if he can take the reins and do, I mean, what he's been able to do in the preseason, and the coaches trust him. He could be a top 24 running back.
Right. No, I mean, and that's why I think the workload's there for him. I think Houston has a sneaky good defense this year.
Yeah.
And it's not being talked about enough. And if they could get into that whole game managing type strategy, and Dameon Pierce gets his touches, he could jump up there inside the top 25 easily, I think. What other person I think Cordero Patterson is super interesting here. Because
at 25,
because I don't necessarily he doesn't really get the rushing yards, and this is one of those situations where he's labeled as a running back, but he's not a running back.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's like the Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill was a tight end at one point, right? Cordell Patterson is, as we all know, extremely talented with the football in his hands. I guess it really just is going to come down to utilization of him. With the addition of Mariota and Drake London, Kyle Pitts emerging even more, I wonder really where. So I'm on the fence with this Cordell Patterson pick because it has that potential, like you said, in best ball league, in terms of best ball, where he could pop off one. He could definitely pop one off. Pop a game off. Holy shit. As co-hosts, this is where you guys are supposed to come in and save me, right?
I mean, whenever you're popping off sayings like that, I don't know what we come in to really help you out with.
Holy shit. Oh my god. All right.
I mean, I know it's the beginning of the season here and you're super excited.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, that is it, man. That's thank you, Evan. That's exactly what it is. Oh man. In terms of best ball, I think Cordell Patterson's a great play because he'll have those games where he gets you points and he's counting towards your scoring team. In terms of, so he might be a good flex. It really depends on matchup. But I think there's guys like Dameon Pierce or even Elijah Mitchell, Kareem Hunt's. They're all in the same tier. We could probably just rearrange the order a little bit.
Yeah. And then the only thing I would give on the supporting of on the Cordero Patterson is you mentioned all the talents that they do have on that side, but none of those were running back. And the most significant things they brought in were Damian Williams and who could randomly do stuff, and Tyler Algier, which in BYU I liked, wasn't super excited about. It was very situationally based as to where he landed. If I got excited for where he is, yeah, I don't mind it for him. But for immediate influence, I don't think he's an immediate running back coming in there disrupting things.
Right.
That to me that still leaves, as much as bad as it is, I don't think Cordero Patterson is a great running back, but fantasy wise, he's going to help your roster pop off.
Oh my God, CJ, do you got anything to talk about?
Yeah,
tier 4.
I kind of do, but so I was pretty hyped for Miles Sanders this coming up season. Like, I was hoping that he'll be healthy and everything, but it seems like it's the same page from last year. Like he's already hurt his hamstring. So like I don't even know if he'll be starting by week 1. And if I'm mistaken, you said on a recent show that Kenneth Gainwell is going to outproduce him. I can very well see that now.
Yeah, that was a bold prediction of mine, and
and
it's
which
I'm pretty sure
keep with that, we have Kenneth Gainwell in the next tier, so right behind him.
That's why I was going to say. So like if he doesn't start and if Philly doesn't trade for another running back, watch out for Kenneth Gainwell.
Our tier 3 and tier 4, there really are, like, because there's a lot of guys in tier 4 that could absolutely jump, man. Just kind of just peeking at it. Like, I like Rashad Penny. I like Ramondre Stevenson.
Tony Pollard.
And then you got rookies in there. You got, I
like Michael Carter.
Right. I mean, I like Michael Carter too. I liked Michael Carter last year. So the fact that they went and drafted Breece Hall, I was a little caught off guard by. But
I mean, he's
a
legit talent.
Yeah. It's a running back by committee type league now. And I think that's where, we had howdoyoudo.com or howdoiwin.com on a few weeks ago, and like I had asked them the question about drafting running back value because of this situation, because of running backs by committee, and like he really hit the nail on the head. Whereas like, well, there's not that many good running backs. Like there's not that many good running backs that are going to get the workload like that. So that's why it's so important to take them in the first round. And that's why I can't stand when I start seeing quarterbacks going in the first round when there's strong workload running backs out there. So we got about 20 minutes left in the show here. We could jump into our wide receiver rankings.
Yes.
This is where it gets real. This is where friends become enemies.
So do we want to how do we want to go with this one?
Well, we talk about the average, and then we can just say where we had them and why, and maybe a few that stuck out. I mean, I don't think we really need to cover the top wide receivers because we already know where they're at.
Yeah, we got Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs.
Yep.
I mean, that's
Devontae Adams, right? Those are your
and Devontae Adams. Yeah,
those are your top 5 wide receivers. And then it starts to get a little, I don't want to say hazy, but
it doesn't stay too. So I'll run down the average real quick on here. When we say the average, we took our rankings and then our separate and then the average together. We kind of put a little bit of info in there as to where we have the dissenting opinion. But for example, then we said the top 5. Number 6 we have coming in is Deebo Samuel. Then CeeDee Lamb. we've got it actually marked here. We have a consensus on CeeDee Lamb at being number 7. And Mike Evans, Tyreek Hill, AJ Brown rounds out the top 10. After the top 10 is once we start getting into the areas of a bunch of variables when each of us put out our own rankings.
Yeah.
And I'll let one of y'all continue from there.
Go ahead, CJ.
Well, what do we? Well, so for the top 10,
No, 11. We're gonna start with 11. We'll do 11 to 20.
All right. So number 11, we got T. Higgins. Number 12, we got Michael Pittman Jr. And that's what the first spot off. So how many is it? 7?
I think we had him as high as 10 and as low as let me see here. Oh my goodness, where is he?
I had him as low as I had him at 17.
Yeah, 17.
I had him at 17, and you had him at
10.
10. Yep.
So, all right, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So
I'll start.
Go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
All right, so I have him on the highest there. My point of view with it is, he is the elite. I mean, talent wise, he's elite. He's up top of there, coming second year off everything he's been able to do. The addition of Matt Ryan is really what bumps him up there for me, because Matt Ryan is accurate. He can control an offense as opposed to Carson Wentz. Timing, flow, that just kind of evades him. But Matt Ryan is able to conduct it and make sure there is a rhythm. And when you're dealing with wide receivers, when you're dealing with a quarterback connection, rhythm is super important. Adding his talent on top of it, I don't see anybody like Paris Campbell's awesome. Not anything to go crazy about. You got the new rookie Pierce, could be something interesting. I don't know, but there's a bunch of unknowns about it. You got Mo Alley Cox,
right?
And Jonathan Taylor is your running back with the ability to receive, but he's not that receiving. He's not going to dip into Michael Pittman's shares. And so I just think if that offense is actually going to thrive, it's going to be star powered. It's going to be Michael Pittman, Jonathan Taylor, Matt Ryan, with a hefty complement of those other guys.
Yeah,
that's
so I'm with you on all of it. I agree to the point that, the offense would be star powered, etc. So when I was doing my rankings, this was not only based on, just simple production for the player. It's also based on situation of the teams, etc. Right? Indianapolis has a strong defense going into it. They have Jonathan Taylor, who is, unanimously, I can't even say it, across the board, the top running back in the league this year. I think it's just going to come down to a situation where, again, like I've said earlier, like there's football and then there's fantasy football. Game situations, who do you want to get the ball to? You want to get the ball to Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman. In terms of fantasy football, Michael Pittman's he's still going to produce, right? He's still going to produce, but I don't think there's going to be many opportunities where they're down 14 and they're trying to push the ball downfield fast, and this guy's getting his looks, etc. And it's those garbage times points, and nothing is considered more like fantasy football wise. I don't think anybody really truly considers garbage time, where garbage time is where a large chunk of points come from. And I don't see Michael Pittman getting those garbage time type points because of how well Indianapolis is built. And so therefore I have Michael Pittman still inside my top 20. I have him at 17. I just think he's, I don't think it's going to be those super consistent, 15-point games week in, week out, so that was where my thought process was on this, and based off of some of my projections and their strength of schedule, etc. Like, and strength of schedule, I say that lightly. That's, this is just my numbers, Fitz's numbers. All right. Like, so yeah, that was our first big,
It wasn't even the big one. We have a couple others that actually.
Yeah, Mike. Well, so number 13 is Keenan Allen, and then Mike Williams is 14. So, who Evan? You had him at number 9, and then Fitz had him at 21.
Yeah, I think that might be the biggest disparity we have.
Oh, so you actually have Mike Williams ranked higher than Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is this is simply downfield Mike Williams? Big.
This is big. Yeah, this is big play Mike Williams, but then also it's not just, and nothing against Keenan Allen, because I mean I have him at 15.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy, but it is Mike Williams, and I think we're going to see a next level Justin Herbert. And the next level Justin Herbert is, I think, what it takes him, because I have Justin Herbert, as my number 2 QB. And
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
that's not a shock, I'm sure, you know,
No.
whatever. But, you know, I have him in the same tier, though, as Josh Allen and Justin Herbert. They're on their own, by themselves in their own tier. And that's really, to me, what's going to boost it is Mike Williams has the talent. He has the downfield capability. And I think him and Justin Herbert are just going to light it up.
Yeah.
That's essentially what it is.
Well, I got one little thing. So Mike Williams was targeted in the end zone 14 times. He called 9 up. Well, he called also 9 touchdowns, but he was targeted in zone 14 times. To Keenan Allen's, I think it was 9 times. So
And I think that'll probably still be about the same ratio this year. I just think in the red zone side, but I think in the between the red zones, you're going to see a little bit more of the Mike Williams utilization.
That's such an interesting take. I'm actually really on board with that. And that
yeah,
it's just kind of like it's almost like this passing of the torch there in Charger.
Yeah,
lane.
that's a good way to put it. Yeah. That's a good way to phrase that.
I
love Keenan Allen so much.
Yeah. Oh, me too. I mean, listen. It is still mind-boggling to me how much talent the Chargers have had for however many years.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still just, they just fall short.
They've always been one of the best fantasy farmhouses, but just never good as a team.
Hey, Bobby, we got a buddy of yours chiming in on the chat.
who is it?
Bobby.
Oh, yes. Oh, man. Can we take a break from fantasy football rankings real quick? We need to talk about, have you ever seen the show? You ever seen the show King of the Hill?
Oh, man.
Oh, hell yeah.
So at my very first command, I was on the USS James E. Williams in Virginia, and somehow it got around that I look like Bobby Hill from King of the Hill. So
shit!
Everybody on my ship was calling me.
I see it. Now that you say it, I see.
So even the captain, so everybody would call me Bobby and not by Williams, my last name. And there was people that didn't even know who I was by my last name. But if you said Bobby, they knew who I was. So yeah.
Oh man.
I'm
glad we took that pause.
You take that scruff off of him, dude. He looks just like Bobby Hill, man.
As soon as you said that, man. Oh my goodness.
Cool.
I love it.
Yes, that is awesome. That made my day.
So, real quick, back to the Mike Williams chat or talk. Mine simply just came down to target share, and I think with the addition of Isaiah Spiller, Austin Eckler, I offensively, more or less, it just comes down to a more diverse and dynamic offense of sharing the wealth more. And in terms of, red zone, I don't have my spreadsheet up here, but I have some numbers regarding red zone stuff and their projections, and and this is what kind of went into my rankings, and again, I have them ranked at 21, but
It's still for 2.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like,
but I have him. I mean, him and Allen, or Keenan Allen, are. It's going to be a good offense. I think, the more and more I think about what you said, Evan, and your justification for it, I kind of really like that idea. I really do.
And I might be just super hot on him because I do have him above people like Tyreek Hill, AJ Brown. There's a lot of people that are super high on T. Higgins, which we're high on him too. It's just I have Williams ahead of him. So yeah, it's a.
I think it's like a high risk, high reward type thing. So we were talking about like downfield plays and like, in terms of thought process, like we've established that you guys are very big on the boom or bust type thing, right? Or the big boom plays, where I'm more of a consistency player, right? I'm looking for targets. I'm looking for PPR opportunities. And like, as Mike Williams is a big target downfield, what goes into that is, accuracy of quarterback throws, et cetera, where Keenan Allen is, very much a sure-handed, going to get his opportunities no matter what. So yeah, I mean, this is fun. Our thought process on this. I am a very conservative player, I guess you would say.
And with you mentioning that, if we're going on a consistency rating, it would be like if I were coming down trying to build like a championship style. Obviously, I was trying to build that, but like a best ball roster,
right,
where you're gonna just try to beat the median every single time. Keenan Allen would probably take preface over Mike Williams because of that consistent. You can build a roster where you're gonna hit within a 20-point swing every single week. Whenever I'm doing these, I'm basing it off of just year-end total points.
Yeah.
Like who has the most points at the end of the year. That does not take into account the things that you're talking about, which are a lot more intricate when looking at them.
So
I'm more of a caveman, and you're more of an IT guy over there.
settle the debate for us, CJ. Keenan Allen or Mike Williams?
Oh, man.
Bobby?
Like you said, Keenan Allen, he was targeted 150 times. Mike Williams was targeted 122 times. Keenan Allen's turning 30, 31. I think Mike Williams is turning 27.
27, 28, somewhere.
Yeah.
I really like that passing of the torch idea.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking Mike Williams steps up this year, man.
Let's go. I mean, we got Mike Williams. So, I mean, we literally, in our average rankings, we have Keenan Allen, Mike Williams at 13, 14. Which,
yeah, that's where it ended up.
which is probably exactly where it needs to be. So,
yeah,
this is pretty cool. I can't wait to share this with everybody. There's a few.
Yeah, so then if we keep going, I know we've got so many. We ranked it out at least the top 50, if not further.
Yeah.
But we got DJ Moore, which we had a little bit of a variable there. He was within a few spots, but nothing crazy. He's still in the top 20 for both of us. Top 15, actually. He ended up being 15 on there. Yeah, DK Metcalf, Cortland Sutton, Jalen Waddle, we ended up matching perfectly at 18. The next one that had a big differential is Terry McLaurin. I feel like, though, we could possibly take the same thing we talked about Mike Williams, and not with the quarterback play, but with what he's got going on. Because personally, I love Terry McLaurin, and I was the one that's slower on him on this one. I'm 23. You've got him at 14.
Yeah,
I love him. If I know last year I had him in my top 15. So I'm right there with you. It might just be more of the Carson Wentz, Washington Commanders experience that I'm kind of scared of.
Yeah, and that's what's kind of the driving force for me here is you're looking at garbage time points with Terry McLaurin. And
Yeah.
that's what the driving force is for it. Like, this dude will probably, I don't have an average of points offhand, but he will be getting those second half, like, huge plays downfield. He'll be getting targeted quite often. I know they have, Jahan Dotson, and, Logan
Curtis
Thomas.
Samuel.
But see, like, Curtis Samuel is...
Yeah, no, he's
right.
not something to compare, but that's what they have.
Right. Like, they don't... So you have an unproven rookie. You have an injury-prone tight end. You have a running back with fumbling issues. It's... And then, yeah. So, like, that's my in terms of opportunity and production, I think Terry McLaurin has the opportunity to be the most productive person on that team, simply because he's going to be the... Terry's down there somewhere, you know what I mean? Like, it's the truth, man. Like, so...
Well, yeah.
Scary Terry.
Yeah, no, I love me some Scary Terry. And, like, just give an example of guys that I have ahead of him where I'm iffy on. It is almost more of like the consistent... It's kind of like we're flipping the script here a little bit with what you had been talking about. I've got guys like Allen Robinson, Brandon Cooks, Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas isn't consistent, but his talent and his pedigree of what he can do coming back healthy, those are guys that I have ahead of him that are possibly... I personally would probably put Terry McLaurin ahead of them normally, outside of the situation that I see him in. I think they just said, Brandon Cooks is just consistent himself no matter what the quarterback is. That's what has him up there. Allen Robinson, quarterback situation, consistent. Michael Thomas, pure talent. And, honestly, it's just, I think they're going to be needing to score a lot of points. That might be the garbage time wide receiver that I have in my setup there is Michael Thomas. That and DK Metcalf. I know I have Metcalf for retire, but I see him getting a lot of garbage time points.
Yeah, I have... you have Metcalf at 16. I have Metcalf at 19. We're pretty close there on that. I'm trying to think of who else. I had Michael Thomas. I had Michael Thomas at 25, and I think what really plays a lot into that is injury history, right? I mean,
yeah.
And just inconsistency at quarterback, and you have Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas. I mean, who else is really... And then it's so weird, right? I give tons of value to rookie running backs, but I don't give nearly as much value to rookie wide receivers.
Right.
I'm there with you.
Like, I feel like the wide receiver position is something that needs to be proven, whereas a running back position is something that, if the workload is there, you're going to create opportunity for yourself. Like, running back is such a position that's driven, it's self-driven. You know what I mean? It really is. Can you make that first cut? Can you break a tackle? Like, it comes down to you, whereas a wide receiver relies so much on so many other things. So yeah. I mean, Michael
the
Thomas...
variables that go into that wide receiver side, it can... Yeah, there's just so many different aspects that hit. And I like what you said there. And you see that in the NFL, where on the running back side, they know that those guys can come in. And if you have a legit running back or find a talent through, either draft or through training camp, and realize, oh shoot, we did get somebody amazing.
Yeah.
They want to start giving that to them, because most of the time it doesn't last long, but it's the earliest that can capitalize on it.
Yep. I just wanted to point out one other person that we were far off on.
Yeah, there were a couple.
We had Jerry Jeudy and you had Jeudy at 27. I had Jeudy and Cortland Sutton right on top of each other at 15 and 16, and I really just think that the situation in Denver improved drastic. I mean, on paper, man, like, look at it. It is the perfect offense. You have consistency at running back. You have consistency at wide receiver. You have this tight end that I think it's going to, excel. And you're looking at like a split. I mean, look at years past of like I'm trying to Tyler Lockett and
DK.
Not DK
Baldwin.
and Baldwin, right? Doug Baldwin, right? Like they were.
Was it?
I can't remember if they intersected, how long they intersected, but
there was like when Russell Wilson has had premier talent, at the wide receiver 1 and 2 positions, like he's dished the ball really well. On top of creating his own, and he does a great job at extending the play, and I just think that creates even more opportunity for, guys like Sutton. We're like Cortland Sutton, extremely talented. He is a precise route runner. I think Jerry Jeudy offers that more of an explosive play, and that kind of comes with the whole, Russell Wilson extending the play clock or extending the play, and creating that improvised opportunities downfield. So I have those two right on top of each other because I think Russell Wilson is exactly the difference maker that the Denver Broncos needed. So,
oh yeah.
I mean, man, I feel like we could spend all day talking about these wide receiver rankings, but it looks like we are actually out of time. So, next week we'll be breaking down quarterbacks and tight ends. I feel like it's going to be pretty straightforward, and we'll have our opportunities, and then we'll make sure that this is public and shareable for anybody that's tuning in and listening. And again,
hit us up with either on Twitter, hit it in the YouTube. If you're I know we have a few leagues you're interested in. We'll make this public. Just shoot us an invite or a request with your email. We'll send you the viewable invite to this Google sheet.
Absolutely.
Nice.
But that's it. Yeah. You guys got anything? Evan, you're the expert at closing out. I don't know why you.
I don't know about expert. I just always get so pumped up at the end of this because I could probably go for another 2 hours. Honestly,
I mean, I could absolutely
just talking about stuff and people would listen to. We just need to turn this into a long form podcast. And but yeah, no, it would be it's always a blast to have everybody here listening. We really, really, really appreciate it. Everybody who engages in our fantasy football leagues, everybody's listened to us over the football season, off season. Next week is everything's getting rocking, so definitely hit us up at NBTG_podcast on Twitter if you want us to give us your email so we can shoot out direct message, anything like that. Also hit us up on YouTube, subscribe and follow us. We will be more than happy to get this information out with you guys and keep joining in with us because as we go on, we'll start hitting up weekly rosters and providing information for y'all. This was a redraft heavy episode, but we're very focused on the Devy dynasty side of things to start getting into some college buy-ins and just kind of hit over everything for y'all. And that is it.
That is it. All right, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll catch you next week.